I actually got to go to the trial I got there about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I didn't think I'd be able to capture too much, but it went to 4:30. Faye was being questioned by Marvin Putnam when I got there, and they were discussing MJ's weight at the mortuary. A few highlights. She never asked MJ if he was okay. She admitted to considering drugs as a possible reason for his behavior. Michael Jackson was the type of person who believed that if doctors gave him something, it should be good for him. She was asked if they ever discussed drugs, and she said he asked her once if her daughter smoked pot and said she should never do that. Michael Jackson wouldn't take no for an answer from her if he asked her to do anything when it came to hair or makeup. She said that from the beginning it sounded like he was trying to convince himself that the O2 shows were a good idea. They talked about an email from a fan that she had forwarded to Frank DeLeo regarding Michael Jackson's weight loss. She wrote something to the effect that she was fearful he's so thin he could get sick and die. She also wrote that if he doesn't do this show, he has no place else to go. She had gone to Carrollwood on June 22nd and waited there for hours before leaving. Michael Jackson never showed. They discussed other emails from fans about their concern with his losing so much weight. She wrote that he's setting himself up to be a victim again, that there was a pattern emerging with his caretakers. He would get scared and then was unable to fulfill his obligations. She didn't want to watch him self-destruct. She'd seen him do this several times, and she cited the criminal trial and the Beacon Theater show. She said that he would turn people who were trying to help him against each other. As an example, she said that Michael Jackson was being fitted for a jacket that Zaldi was designing, and when Zaldi left, Michael Jackson turned to Michael Bush and said that he couldn't wear those clothes and asked Michael Bush to start working on something for him. Also in her email, she wrote to Frank DeLeo. She wrote, "I don't think that you or Kenny or Randy should become the villains." She ended the email with, "This is between you and me alone. I'm leaving this in your hands." Then Panish began questioning. Karen mentions that Michael's OCD was getting worse. He was repeating himself, rarely coherent, and that Travis Payne seemed to be struggling working with him. She said that Michael Jackson was expected to go up on the cherry picker, and he couldn't even walk up a ramp. She said he needed a female dancer to assist him. No one from AEG, not Randy Phillips, not Paul Gongaware, discussed Michael Jackson's condition with her. On July 1st, she emailed Randy Phillips about leaving out the film where Michael Jackson was at his worst, shuffling and wrapped in a blanket. Randy responded that we, meaning AEG, control all the film and it's locked in a vault at the Staples Center. They discussed another email from Travis Payne to Michael Berdan, where Travis Payne writes that MJ is not in shape enough to sing and dance at the same time. She agreed. At this point, they did some assuming of scenarios, and the bottom line was she agreed he wasn't ready to do the show and his health had deteriorated in 8 weeks. She wasn't aware that Paul Gongaware had wanted to manipulate the rehearsal calendar so that it would look like Michael Jackson wasn't working that much. They also brought up her contract, and they mentioned it a few times, that her term dates were from July 8th of 2008 to March 31st of 2011. And I said, July 8th, 2008? Because even if it was retro pay, I thought she started officially of March 09. But you know, I hadn't been there for most of her testimony, so there could be a lot that I had missed. She admitted that she was surprised that Frank DeLeo was working with Michael Jackson again, because she knew Michael Jackson had issues with him and had said he'd never work with him again after firing him once before. And then Panish asked, "Who's Barry?" To which she answered, "Her boyfriend." And again, maybe I missed something earlier, but I don't know why that was asked. On June 18th, she got home at 2:30 a.m., very upset. When she woke up the next morning, the first thing she did was text, because she was still very upset from 2:30 in the morning. She gave us just a little bit of why Michael Jackson, and I think because of hearsay she couldn't tell the whole story, but Michael Jackson had come late to rehearsal the night before, 9:30 p.m. Kenny Ortega was angry. Michael Jackson seemed scared, paranoid, and in depression. She was telling Panish that she had given 5 days worth of deposition to Putnam and his firm for the Lloyds of London case, and while that was going on, she was subpoenaed to give a deposition for this AEG case. At no time was the Jacksons' attorney or representation there while all this questioning was going on. She'll be back on the stand on Monday. And that's all I heard today.